Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, issue number 6. A Rogue S.H.I.E.L.D. division is trying to hunt down Teresa, Peter Parker's sort of long-lost sister. Complicated? You bet. She's a S.H.I.E.L.D. trained super spy who swiped classified hero-villain weakness data and ran away. But where can she hide from an organization like S.H.I.E.L.D.? Enter her web-slinging, wall-crawling brother, Spiderman. Now, he's got a lead on how they tracked her down, and it involves sitting down with his greatest nemesis, Jonah Jameson. In this video, Spider-Man is masked and ready to face off against Jonah. Lasagna is on the menu, but Spidey's suspicions are tingling. Poison? Nah, he's got that spider sense. Jonah makes fun of Spidey and calls it childish. The recorder clicks on as they settle in for a meal. Spider-Man just wants info on Teresa, but Jonah doesn't agree as he wants content for his blog. The deal struck. Spidey gives an hour for an interview. In return, Jonah will spill the beans about Teresa and will write no stories related to Spidey for a year. Spider-Man gets angry and gets up from his seat. He feels that this is a waste of time and that Jonah doesn't know anything. He can't believe he fell for this. He says his goodbyes to Jonah, the blogging moron. Jonah tells Spider-Man to calm down, but Spider-Man doesn't listen. Jonah reveals that Teresa Durand is an ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who stole classified material, and an associate informed Jonah that she stole information on how to defeat a host of superheroes and supervillains. Spidey's like, yeah, knew that, and asks if Jonah thought she leaked to get caught. Jonah's job? Verify info. Tech data, he says. Logical place? Spidey lifts his mask to take a bite of the lasagna and jokes about an official handbook. Jonah reveals that he's discovered there's a man who knows technology to villains. A tech supplier to villains. Phineas Mason, the Tin Keeper. Spidey knows this guy, and he's no hero. But he has a brother, Hoffney Mason, aka the Mason, whom so-called superheroes use for his services. Again, Spider-Man knows this and expresses he's a superhero after all. Yeah, I know him too. I'm a superhero after all. By the way, this lasagna is surprisingly good. Anything happened to the Mason recently? He asks with his curiosity piqued. His lab got trashed by his own brother. Silence hangs in the air. Jonah, appalled, exclaims, "And you didn't find that weird?" Never had a brother before. Maybe destroying secret layers is a sibling thing. He shrugs. The Tin Keeper's data dealings with S.H.I.E.L.D. It's hit the fan, Jonah spits out. Spider-Man, realizing the Tinker's deceit, stands up, ready to swing into action. No chance. Deal's a deal. If you leave now, all I said about you is confirmed true. Spidey sits. 1 hour on the clock. Jonah's interrogation begins. Who is Spider-Man? What's the thrill in the tight costume, messing up folks' days? Spider-Man retorts, but only Jonah finds him annoying. The real reason? A tragic past. A loss he could have prevented. He swings to save lives. Jonah scoffs and says Spidey endangers as much as he saves. He's seen it all and believes he knows Spidey. Spidey believes that Jonah's gone crazy. Flashback to Spidey's TV debut. In the audience, the first time Spider-Man was on TV, Jonah had never seen anything like it. The Amazing Spider-Man was quite amazing. Jonah confesses that he will never tell anyone else, but there it is. He thought that Spider-Man was a great performer and an entertainer and should have stayed that way. Jonah believes that Spider-Man should have stayed a TV clown. Jonah had tried to kill Spider-Man multiple times and created the Spider Slayer, the Scorpion, to kill, but he chose to be a jokey vigilante, answerable to no one for kicks, in some cheesy costume and that mask, the mask of a coward. Spider-Man defends himself and believes that this isn't fair. The costume, the mask, it's about protecting his identity. Who knows what happens to my loved ones if he's out there? Real heroes don't hide. Cops, they face consequences. He scoffs. Jonah believes that Spider-Man wears his mask because he doesn't have to answer to anyone. Jonah has had enough. He rises and demands answers. Spidey shoots his web, pulls out a newspaper. Spidey lashes out at Jonah, saying he thinks Spider-Man lives without consequences. Friends have died, family have died, but Spider-Man has saved more people than he can count. And Jonah? He's just a pathetic old man wasting his life trying to stop Spider-Man from helping others. Now, instead of using a newspaper, Jonah's holed up in his apartment on a blog with no comments and readers. Jonah expresses with great anger that he's just trying to hold Spider-Man accountable by taking off that mask. Spider-Man asks Jonah why he hates him so much. Jonah spills that his wife got killed decades ago by a masked assailant. Jonah wanted to fight, but she said no. The culprit wore a mask. A coward, Jonah thought. The culprit wore a mask. Jonah always remembered what was going through his head, seeing that he called himself a damned coward. Jonah used to think maybe he was jealous of Spider-Man deep down. He sometimes thought about how Spider-Man would inspire kids to do things leading to their deaths. There's Spider-Man's wanton destruction of property, all while he would crack wise. So many reasons to hate Spider-Man, but it's the mask, that cowardly mask, that angers Jonah. Jonah insists Spidey could have joined the police or the army to show true courage and selflessness. Spidey fires back. When Jonah became the mayor, the first thing he did was form the anti-Spider-Man task force. He could have done anything or helped anyone, and he chose to throw away money chasing Spider-Man. Spider-Man believes that Jonah has always been the same. Nothing ever changes with him. No matter what Spider-Man does, Spider-Man believes that Jonah can't accept that Spider-Man is one of the good guys. Spider-Man heads to leave. Jonah says that he accepted that Spider-Man was a hero until he blackmailed Jonah into giving him city property. I told you that was Dr. Octopus taking control of my beautiful body! But Jonah is firm on his feet and tells Spider-Man that he doesn't know the first thing about responsibility. Spider-Man laughs out loud and says he wishes it was so easy. Life would be so much easier that way. Jonah gets angered that Spider-Man laughed and is joking, so he throws all the food on the ground. Jonah heads towards Spider-Man, and Spider-Man tells him that he jokes to put people at ease. But Jonah's adamant in believing that Spider-Man's a coward. Spider-Man laughs and tells Jonah to stop it and tells Jonah that he's worthless and has wasted his life. He sits and starts crying. Spidey stutters an apology. Jonah cries, questioning if Spidey thinks he has nothing, lost it all. Jonah hates Spider-Man for his wife's death by Allstar Smith. She came back, a clone, and Jonah lost her again. Jonah knows he shouldn't hate, but it's all he's got. Spider-Man proving that wasn't for nothing, he holds Spider-Man accountable. Jonah reveals his losses: father, daughter, wife, and cries. Spidey tries to reassure him, but Jonah orders him out. "Interview's over," he says with sadness in his voice. Suddenly, Spider-Man reveals his face. This is shocking to Jonah. Spider-Man's revealed to be Peter Parker. Spider-Man explains that his Uncle Ben's death and his nativity then fuels him to do what he does now, to save people. Now, he does it because it's right. He begs Jonah to see this man behind the mask, recounting shared history. Spidey realizes that Jonah had announced Spider-Man's visit earlier. He explains to Spidey that he was promoting the interview as the door knocks. The FBI arrives. Spider-Man leaves through the window thinking of Jonah's broken state and swears to deal with it later. His focus is now on Teresa and the FBI. He throws his costume away so that the police do not have any leads and thinks to convince Teresa to leave before the FBI hits. Meanwhile, the FBI surrounds Peter Parker's house.